again, and welcome back to this basic tutorial for Roll20. Almost finished with this basic tutorial now, so we're going to look at building the rest of this dungeon, which is going to include dynamic lighting, and might be a slightly longer episode, this one. We're going to expand this dungeon, or this room that we've made, into a dungeon. We're going to have some simple traps, we're going to have a simple puzzle, and we're also going to add dynamic lighting. So, yeah, let's get to it. So this is the room that we'd built in the last episode. So I'm just going to go back into the layers to make sure that I'm on map and background. And once again, I always do this whilst I'm building my maps, is I keep the background as white. I just find it keeps things a little easier to see. Okay, now I shortened my map last time, so let's go back in and make it larger again. I'm going to make this, I'm going to try and keep it at that current height. It doesn't need to be massive. And I think it's going to need to be 3 times its current size, so 45. And this is my plan. And plans don't always come out. So I'm going to take out these corner pieces here. And this first room, there's going to be a simple puzzle in here, and I'm going to use just the dungeon tiles that we got in the last episode from Forgotten Adventures. That guy is amazing. If you are able, please go along and look at his Patreon. So we need to make this 2 by 2, so 2 by 2. And I'm going to stick that in here. So we're going to be walking down from that level into this one. And I'm now going to take where's the 1 by 2? There's the 1 by 1. I'll have to take this one again, and I'll show you what we can do about that to hide this, because we don't have one that's 3 by 3, which is a little disappointing actually. So we're going to put that just there like that. We're then going to select the 2 that are either side of it, and we're going to change them to front, and that's going to cover it up just nicely. And we're going to do the same at this point, just to I'm going to zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. So, and again, look at the quality of these. These are really, really good dungeon tiles. So you see on this one here, look, you can just make out the edge of the steps there. If we just take the wall and send that to front, and then the shading from the wall just covers over, and it just gives the whole dungeon that polished look overall. Now we've come out of a doorway there that we don't currently have, so I want a double door without walls attached. So that one has walls attached. Let's get one. I want a thick one, I think. I was sure there was double. Oh, there it is. Double doors without walls attached. So this is a 1 by 2. So it's currently at 1 by 3, so I'm just going to knock that down to the right size. I'm going to now place that in, and I'm going to, but you see it's snapping to the wrong locations, not perfect. I'm going to hold down Alt on my keyboard. I'm just going to place that in like that. So that's not perfect, but it's okay. It's the beginning of the dungeon. No one's looking at the door they've just come from. It's just, I like to know, just from my own reference, that's where the players came from. Okay, right, let's have a look. So I'm just going to zoom in on this area that we're working on now. So I want there to be a very simple puzzle in here to open this door. The door's not magically closed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down here to my GM info overlay. And what this is this is information that only the GM can see. I'm going to go to the paintbrush and choose text. I'm going to change my color to something that'll stand out on these tiles, so 1. And I'm going to make it a little bigger, 20. And then I'm going to just click, just once. And for some, what, there we go. Okay, so in this room, as I will now explain, the door to progress through the dungeon is locked. So door is locked. I'm going to later maybe in this episode, maybe in the next, I'm going to put a small crew of goblins in here. And the leader of these goblins, or the leader of this particular group of goblins, has the key. So, goblin leader has key. Now, if you currently work from GM notes, for example, if you look at a module, the starters kit, for example, you have all the information you need should things go either way. I'm going to put that information onto my dungeon tiles, knowing full well that I'm the only one that can see them. So on this one, I'm going to put PCs can steal. Now, in order to steal the key, they would need to sneak into the room without being detected. That will go off the passive perception of the goblin. Let's have a look what that would be. So click on the information here. I'm now going to click on type in goblin, and here we are from the player's handbook. Find the right one. Here we are. Is a goblin monster traits. His passive perception is 9. Now they are going to be on guard. So I'll double click that so I can edit again. So it's possible that they're looking, but without any reason to look at any particular time, we're just going to use the goblin's passive perception. So DC 9 for stealth. And in order to take it off him without him realizing, I'm going to set a DC. So DC to pickpocket here. I'm going to set the DC. Is a goblin. Is probably busy doing things. I'm going to set it quite high because this is at the moment quite an empty room. And although I am going to change that room, it's not going to be so busy that it would be easy to pickpocket someone. It's not a tavern. It's not a marketplace. So I'm going to set that at 16 to make it reasonably difficult for early level players. Okay. Now if I then click this, I can move it to where I want it to be. I'm going to move it so that it's here. Now at the moment we can't see that, and that is okay. That's fine. When the players, in fact I'm going to put it up here, it'd be better up here. When the player, when we finish this, we're going to change the backgrounds to black, and we'll be able to see that perfectly. So that's fine. I don't need to, I'm happy, leave that where it is. Okay, right, back to the map's background. So, what else can we add into this room to make it more interesting? Well, we could add a ledge. I'm going to put a pit in here. So this ledge should be 1 by 1. It's currently not. So we'll scale that down to 1 by 1. And we'll copy it. And how big do I want this ledge to be? I think I want this ledge to go down here in the corner. So I will place that bit there. I'm going to copy that and put that there. And then I'm going to copy it and put in 2 more. Turn them around. And they're going to go in here. Now there is a corner piece for the ledge just here, which I'm not going to use. And the reason I'm not going to use it is because I want my ledge to be quite tight. I want it to be a sharp end to the ledge and not a curved piece like this. So I'm going to put that there, and that creates the image of this darkened area. As I did with the steps, I'm just going to go back and select my wall piece and snap that to the front just to make sure that that shadow is consistent. And now we've got this area here. And when I make this the monsters to go into this area, I'm going to put 2 wolves in here that are fighting, and the goblins are watching them. So I'm going to go back to my GM overlay. I'm going to go back to the pencil, which is now become an eye, and I'm going to click here where I can see. Oh, why is it doing this? This is okay. So I'm going to put 2 wolves wolves. Is it wolves? Fighting in pit. And I don't need to put anything else on that. And for some people, they might be, oh, why are you even doing that? Is that even necessary? I think it is, yeah, because when I actually send the players in here, I will see that and I will remember they can hear two animals fighting. I need to tell them that because they're going to hear it. Okay. So we've got two wolves fighting in a pit, and we've got some goblins. Maybe they're having some bets. Maybe they're just sat watching. Okay, let's carry on with the next part of the dungeon. So there's our encounter, our first encounter. I want this corridor to be a little longer. So delete that, my mistake. Go back to map and background. What I'm going to do is put a trap in this corridor. So I'm going to make this a little bit longer. Okay. And I will now add the walls to this area. So I will get this wall here and place that in there. And as always, the floor first, and then the wall. And then finally I'm going to put that in. Don't worry about the over bit there, that's fine. And again, let's stick this in. Probably should have copied the other one there. This time, all the way, please. It will snap to. I think it does it in 45-degree angles. I'm going to leave this one open for good reason. The next 2x2 area I'm going to select is this one. I'm going to place that there, and I want this to go just here. This is the end of the corridor, and I'll just send that to the back. Okay, and right, so my trap in this case is just going to be here. So I placed this in the wrong place, you know. I did. I want this to be here. And I'm now going to take this 3x2 dungeon end piece. It's already the right size, so that's good. And I'm going to place this along here. I will get this right. So this is going to be just here. And, oh, God, you know, get there in the end. And now I just need this piece. So I'll copy the inner corner again, and that is going to go there. And then I'm going to create another one of those at the other side. And there we go. Okay, so now we have our area. What's going to happen here? This tight area, which a player will be able to walk down this. I'm going to jump back into the GM overlay. I'm going to type again. Oh, what's going on? I don't know why it keeps doing that. And what I'm going to type here is this is a really simple arrow trap. And this arrow trap requires a dex save. And it makes quite a noise when it goes off. So it's quite a low dex save. The players can see it coming. So it's going to need a 13. A dex save of 13. However, it can be disarmed with a Thieves Tools, which I do really quickly with a TT, Thieves Tools, and which is another dex of 10. It's literally an arrow on the wall with a piece of string along the bottom that sends it off, which makes it quite easy to see. So I'm also going to put in Perception. This is to notice the trap, and it's 10. So a lot of players are going to see that, which is the point of this low-level dungeon. Is it's nice and fun, and everyone feels like a hero. So once again, I'm going to get that. I'm going to put it there, and that's going to now tell us what it is there. Okay, right, next we're having a large room, very large room. So we're going to take this 15 by 15 area. Make sure I change my overlay. 15 by 15 area. I'm going to, this might be too big actually. Going to dimensions, change it to 15 by 15, set, pull this down so it fits just there. Send it to the back. And the reason I've done a large 15 by 15 is because this one's not going to be perfectly straight. So I need the larger area to cover, as you'll see in a moment, the bits that we can't see. So let's start with the curved area that's going to lead into it. So this is a 3 by 3. It's already the right size. I just need to flip it this way. I'm going to stick that on there, just like that. And just send that to the front. There we go. This is going to be a straight line across here though. So we can just find the 3 by 3 straight piece. Where are you? I know you're around here somewhere. There it is. So 3 by 3 straight piece, just like that. And I'm gonna this side of the wall here. This is all gonna be straight pieces. So let's have another one there. Right up to the end, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to have a 2 by 2 square pillar, and I'm just, because this one's kind of funny with the dimensions on it, it'd be easier just like that. Okay, we're going to have a pillar somewhere about center. Ooh, I don't think I like that. That's good. I'm going to have one there, and I'm going to have one just down here. Is that good? This way a little bit. Yep. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now let's make our dungeon walls a little more interesting. Let's have this piece here. Again, this I checked the sizing. This has come through at the right size, and I want now a diagonal piece. And this is quite literally. I'd love to tell you that this is part of some sort of master plan, but it's not. It is quite literally about making your dungeon different and not just a load of square rooms. So, oh, I've picked the wrong one there. You see the corners there. That's an inside. I want an outside corner. No, nope, that's all. Is it? Yeah, that's also an inside corner. Where is the outside corner? I think it's that one. Yeah, it's also an inside corner. I'm just straight up going crazy here. So that needs to be in a little bit. I can now see that that's too close. Up a little, and I'll take that one a little bit that way. And what's going to happen is this is the main part of the dungeon. This is where the boss fight, if you like, is going to be. So where is my, there we are, my more funny bits. And I'm just going to continue this, getting funny angles on things just until, that's that one I'm going to keep like that, just until I'm literally happy with what I've done, and play around with it a little bit. And if this takes too long, I'll just speed through quickly, but I am almost done now. I just need to find the last few corner pieces, which should be up here. Yep, up here at the beginning. So we'll have this one. I think this is a 2 by 2, so it needs to be shrunk down a little bit. Make sure you keep your scale consistent, otherwise it'll look stupid. Oh, well that's weird. I'll have to get rid of that one. For some reason it doesn't line up. And we'll take this one. This is a 3 by 3, and we've got this kind of area here developing now, you can see, so we can use that. And if it's just a straight room, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with just, I don't like that, I'll get rid of that. Nothing wrong with just having a really old-fashioned, simple, straight room. but this will lead to a more interesting combat encounter, giving the players options of running around corners and avoiding bad guys. They've got the pillars there, so there's the option for them to try and use the pillars to gain cover. Oh, this must be a larger one. Oh, it's a 4x4. Yep, almost done now. And then we can move on to dynamic lighting. So I just need to get this to match up with that. So we'll use this. It's a 2x2, so we'll move that down and we'll go like this. And almost done. Oh, that points the wrong way. Where's the one that I want? There it is. Oh, we'll have to flip it. So, advanced and flip horizontal. And then we can put that in there. Oh, it's just too low. That's okay, we'll just move the whole thing up. Oh, that must be the wrong size. No, that is the right size. Possibly because I flipped it. There we go. I'll do it. This is a 2x2. Change the corner to match. Yep. There we go. Okay. Yep. Happy with that. Finally, we just need some single straight pieces. Where are they? There they are. So this needs to be 1x2. Whoop. There we go. Stick that one there. That one there. And that one there. Okay. Right, there's our rather simple dungeon. I'm just going to finish it quickly with a door. This door will be locked. I'm going to use the same doors that we have been using. Just make that the right size. There we go. Yep. Make sure this lines up properly. So I will... Yeah, that needs to be above, so we're not going to send it back. Okay. Yep, that's good. Right. Let's add some notes on this doorway. This door is locked. And I'll put locked door. The key is inside the room, so it's going to be a hobgoblin. Hobgoblin has key. Hobgoblin has 1B also. Hobgoblin has key, and I'm going to put Thieves Tools to unlock. Thieves Tools, Dex, and it's not super difficult. It's quite easy. That's all we need on that one. Okay, and again, I'm just going to stick that up there. Okay. So next, what we're going to do, just going to make sure I'm happy, because I'm looking at them pillars and I'm thinking, that's not good. This would be better. Maybe in a little bit. Nope. Okay. Up a little. No. That's good. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I'm happy with that. Okay. Right. So they're going to come down here. They're going to have the encounter with the trap. Then they're going to have the encounter with the door. Then they're going to go into the room, hopefully. And inside the room, they're going to find a hobgoblin captain with a load of loot and a couple of goblin fighters. I'm going to once again add some stairs in to make the room a little bit more interesting. So this is going to go here, and I'm just going to turn it a little bit so that I can get it right. And if I hold down Alt when I release it, I can put it anywhere I want. And the same as when I'm placing it. Now, it's not quite the size that I want, so I'm going to stretch it out a little bit in both directions. And that's not worked. It's too big. I can't do that. Let me have a look. No, actually, you know what? I think I can. I think I can do it. I just need to move it in a little bit further. So I want this area here to be raised ever so slightly. And I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to bring these to the front so that, yeah, okay. So now this area looks as though it is raised up. Maybe there was a statue there once, or an altar, or something along those. Who knows? Who knows? If we had more resources, I would definitely be putting a statue up there that was holding some sort of item. Now we're going to continue the theme of pits in this dungeon, just because. So we're going to stick one here. Actually, I'm just having a brainwave whilst I do it. I'm going to make this the right size, 2 by 2. I'm going to put it around these pillars. These pillars are almost depressed into the ground. Or maybe they're raised up. And as can be seen here. And the last one. There it is. Our pillars are raised on the ground slightly. So I will Control, Shift and click, then Control and C to copy and paste. And then I get the same thing here, which I can now move into position there. There we go. Our pillars are raised up ever so slightly, which again adds that element of depth that we can use. I've got an extra gap thing there. All right, I reckon that this dungeon's dressed enough for its intended encounter. I'm looking at this one last time and changing things because I'm just so picky. I'm going to get rid of this, and then I'm going to use these and put them in the center. A little more, that's it. There we go. Just one large pillar now, rather than having 2 smaller ones. So we've got a hobgoblin in here with some goblins and maybe a wolf. You know, we'll figure that out when we actually put our monsters together. So the next step is to go into dynamic lighting. Now, as I mentioned, dynamic lighting is only available if you pay any extra, which I significantly suggest you do. Oh my god, it's awesome. I like to make my walls red. And because we've used something that sticks to the walls here, we can use a little shortcut. That shortcut is to hold Shift and click, and then again, and it's just going to put us on the closest point. Now, if we do it this way, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to end it there. If we do it that way and we grab a player, where's our players? Let's grab a Grum and stick a Grum in here. Oh, hang on a minute. I'm on the wrong layer for this. Change it to tokens and stick a Grum down. Grum will not be able to see through that wall. So if we press Control and L, oh, not yet, we don't. First, we need to enable dynamic lighting, enforce line of sight, restrict movement, and for the time being, I'm going to put global illumination so that we can see. So this is what it does. It cannot see past that red line that we've made. Now, that's okay, because it does what we need it to do. But, you know, these walls have got these little hashing in it that adds depth. So it'd be good to use that depth. So I'm just going to take the whole thing down to there. I'm going to just redraw it because it wouldn't be the right shape. And then show you again. So we'll go again, and from here. And so what I'm doing is I'm the next line out behind the hash, which helps. And I'm going to stop at that point and show you the effects. So let's jump now to objects and tokens, Control and L again. And once again, we can't see past this little white line. Don't worry about it. That's because the background's white. When it's black, you won't see that white line. We could see this. So if Grum was down here in this corner, he can't see through there. So that's okay. I'm also going to turn off global illumination, which basically makes it bright light everywhere. So now it's dark light. Remember when we first made Grum, we added in his dark vision. So Grum can see 60 feet in darkness or in dim light. And that's kind of the important part, is what type of light can he see in. So dark vision, you can see in dim light within 60 feet of you as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were dim light. You can't discern colour, only shades of grey. Now, unfortunately, the colour and shades of grey can't be accommodated at the moment. However, we can accommodate the darkness. So we can see 60 feet in dim light. Now, in a dungeon, it's not dim, it's dark. So you can see 30 feet. And you can now leave that and not do anything in the next box, but I like to put it at half of that to add the atmosphere to it. So now if we click Grum, Control and L to see what he can see, we can see that it fades out towards those walls. So as Grum travels down towards the wall, eventually hits the wall and he can't see any further. And you can see now he can't even see the other wall. But as he moves around, his vision again follows and he can see. And when you have a full room set up accurately, for example, if the goblins are carrying torches, if there's candles on a table, and I will go into the, I'll do a session on dungeon dressing another time to go through that. And what I'm going to do now is just turn off dynamic lighting, and I'm going to jump back. I'm just going to finish it. So I like to do it in as fewer strokes as possible, and I always start at doors. So this time I want this doorway, so I'm going to start at the door, so I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to follow the wall, and then I'm going to click down here where we decided to include that part of the wall's depth, and then I'm going to go around the rest of this room, holding shift to snap to the tiles just there, and then the same again here. I'm going to there, and then click. So I've done almost all of that room now. Now I'm going to change my color to blue. I'm going to change my line to large, and I'm going to draw, starting well within the red mark. I'm going to start there, click again there, and then I'm going to put this sort of tick on it, which I call a handle. And the reason being is when the players actually open that door, I will grab the handle and I will move the dynamic lighting. And it's because we're using blue and red, it clearly stands out. That simple. Okay, I'm going to go ahead now and complete the rest of this dungeon with these colours. So, starting with the red, and off we go. Okay, so now the rest of the dungeon is complete. And just quickly, just for fun, let's have a look at what Grum now sees when he goes on his adventure. Now, we didn't save Grum's settings last time, which if you remember the way that we do that, I'll just change these. 15, save. We open Grum's character sheet, we click on edit, remove the default token, yes, and then use selected token, which we still have selected. Now every time it's going to save that as it was. And we'll go back into here, we will enable dynamic lighting, press OK. So let's see what Grum sees now in this dungeon, which is very atmospheric. He can see certain things. He's going to get in here and he's going to see there's wolves fighting down here and there's goblins gambling on them. And as he comes across here, he comes across to a wooden door, which by any means necessary, he eventually manages to open. And why is that blue all of a sudden? Not blue. Madness. Let me just change that back. There we go. Yeah, so he's going to open that door. As the door opens, the way becomes clear. He can now see through. He can't see through the pillars, but he can see through. And you see as he moves, the dynamic lighting changes. And this is where we're going to have the trap. Now, don't worry about that. He won't be able to see the writing. The players cannot see that. And again, he's going to come here, and there's a doorway, etc., etc. So, what about the archway? Well, the pillar. The pillar itself does need to have some tiles on there, so we're just going to. Why is this drawing a? That's a bit strange. It's drawing a square. So polygon, and this is a red one, and it's regular. So we want to take the inside of this rather than the outside. So again, you can see that depth. And that's it. That's all we need to do for that. I will once again grab Grum, our example. Should have called him Exemplar. And he comes into this place, and you can see now as he comes close, he cannot see through there. So that gives him the cover that he wants. If I wanted to make this higher, then I could also do that. But bear in mind that you can't have different levels of dynamic lighting. Once you put it in, they cannot see past that, regardless of whether, for example, if I put him up here, he wouldn't be able to see past the lighting there out into the rest of the room. Okay. So there we are. Now we've made ourselves a dungeon using 3 tiles. I will very quickly, as we have in fact finished with the background stuff, we can now make that into black. And that's just going to make those DM notes that we put about, see, that's just going to make them pop so that we can see those. And yeah, just select. And he can't see the dungeon rating up there. He can't see the extra bits that are down there because the dynamic lighting blocks it. So we now have this rather cool looking dungeon. It's a little bare, but we'll skip around that for the time being, and I'll do an episode on dressing dungeons another time. And the next episode will be on creating monsters, creating monster tokens, creating the macros that monsters use, and depending on how long that takes, we'll also do how to actually manage your combat using Roll20. Bye.